Happy Tuesday. Happy podcast day at Steve Talks 321. Woo! What a day today. We're live and we're chilly. I've got my scarf on. Props to the Fireball Company for inventing this scarf. Yes. So I pulled up my my Facebook feed here, and it says Florida winter returns 20s and 30s. So last week, for those of you listening, I think Jesse was even wondering. I said it's going to get chilly tomorrow, right? My forecast was correct, but it was a week late. So that was cool. I had temperatures in the upper 20s and low 30s, and the next day it was in the upper 70s. So about that one. But you know, the weather. Sometimes the weather people are wrong, right? So I'm just giving them a taste of their own medicine, right? How's everybody doing out there? We have, oh my God, look at all the people on. So what a week. We had a great week. Last week we had playoff football, NFC, AFC championships. Spent the weekend cooking and showing some properties, but enjoying the football playoffs. And it's the 49ers and the Chiefs. What an incredible matchup. I think everybody in the beginning of the season was kind of predicting San Francisco and Kansas City. And then Kansas City was starting to fall off a little bit, and then they came roaring back at the end. So I've got some friends out there. A couple of them used to play for Kansas City Chiefs, so they're my team. I'm going to root for them, even though Jacksonville Jaguars are at home watching the Super Bowl again. So I'm going to pull for the Chiefs. Mr. J.J. Burden, if you're out there watching this at any point, go Chiefs. Go Chiefs. Yeah. And my wife is rooting for the 49ers, so we're house divided. Oh. Yeah. She has a history with the 49ers. She used to work for DeBartolo. They used to own Simon Property. So she's always had a liking for the 49ers because the DeBartolo family actually still owns the 49ers, believe it or not. Yeah. So, but I'm looking forward to it. Early predictions. Got Jesse here listening in. He's just wondering what I'm going to say here. I'm going to say, even though I want the Chiefs to win, I'm not going to give it a biased prediction, but I'm going to say it's going to be within a touchdown. And I can't pick which team. I don't really know, but I'm going to say it's going to be a close game. It's going to probably be 34-27. One way or another, 34-27. So remember that, all right? So, all right, next is this day in history. So I go through the internet every week, and I pick out something unique because there's a lot of things that happen every day in history. So this day in history, because we're talking about football and Super Bowl, 1968, this was the NFL Pro Bowl. It wasn't called the NFL Pro Bowl back then, though. It was called the AFL, NFL, like East-West. They called it East and West. So that was the 18th East-West game played at the L.A. Memorial Coliseum. West beats the East 38-20. And it was the running back that was in this game that stood out was Gale Sayers. So that really caught my, did you ever see Chicago Bears? Gale Sayers, yeah.
I did not.
Yeah. A legend. But anyways, that's a pretty unique day in history, right? We don't really talk about football much in day of history or sports in general, but
it's appropriate.
Yeah, it's appropriate for this segment. Next up, we have got another. This is week 2 of doing this. This is my featured home of the week. Jesse, I'm going to give him a few minutes to pull this up, but it is a half duplex that I have listed in Lauren Cove. It is brand new, never lived in, built by Vieira Builders. It is the Saratoga model. It is a gorgeous 3-bedroom, 2-bath split plan, loaded with all the upgrades, and it is on the lake. and it is set back really, really far off the road. So it's got an extra long driveway. I think you can fit like 10 cars in the driveway. Jesse's scrolling through some pictures there. That's actually the main clubhouse. So it's out in Addison Village. If you don't know where Lauren Cove is, out west of I-95 off of Wickham Road, west of the the Walmart, the Target out there. So you've got the hospital, the Pro Health. It's back there. Really, really hopping out there. It's a maintenance-free community in Lauren Cove. They take care of your lawn, your landscape, the exterior of the building, roof insurance. You've got the new Addison Village Club out there now with the pool, the clubhouse. They've got bocce. They've got tennis courts, a rec center. Just a really, really cool place. And Vieira has done a tremendous job out there. If you guys are out there listening from the Vieira Company, Vieira Builders, I know some of you out there listen to my podcast. Appreciate all you do out there making Vieira a better place. But anyways, this particular home is being offered at $369,772, and it is spectacular. So if you're interested in finding out more about that, you can give me a buzz, 321-749-9394. Be happy to show you that or email you the details of that property. So, worthy. Yes. Next, we have anybody on there? Yeah, awesome. How are y'all doing out there? For those of you just joining, that was my phone just dropped. I'll get it. I'll get it. See, we are live and unedited. Things happen. Yeah. We'll say it nicely, right? Yes. Things happen.
Keep it G-rated.
Yeah. We are rated G, by the way. This is all audiences. And if you somebody asked me a question before we went live, and they asked if they didn't see this live, could they watch it recorded? Mm-hmm. And you can not only just watch it recorded on the stream, you can actually listen to it on your favorite podcast site, Buzzsprout or iHeart, iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, and all the others. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So you can listen to me while you're driving.
Perfect.
You can listen while you're biking, walking. Yeah. But our special guest, I'm really excited about this part of the show because I have an outstanding special guest. And it is attorney Jessica Lynn Silva. She's a local Brevard County Vieira resident. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Jessica before I turn it over to her and introduce her. But Jessica was actually born in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, Eglin Air Force Base. Yes. Yeah. She traveled all over the United States and overseas, a daughter of a military family, married a now retired United States Air Force officer from Hawaii. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Keone.
Retirement's official April 1st.
Now you're watching out there, Keone, hopefully. And
yes, he
I want to say thank you for your service and thank you for your contribution and sacrifice for our country. And thank you, a military family as well, because you all sacrifice. So you have 3 children. Yes. You have a 22, a 17, and a 13, so 2 boys and a girl. Yes. I know you're involved in the community, and you enjoy a lot of volunteering. Mm-hmm. You do so much into the community. You enjoy a lot of quality time with your family also, and you do you kayak, you boat, you listen to podcasts.
I do. I love podcasts.
Yeah. You're a fan of interior decorating, yes. Of course. You've even done some modeling.
Yes.
I've seen some of your clips, some of your...
HSN,
yes.
Shopping Network.
Yes. Amazing. And you're also a voiceover artist.
Yes.
So...
That's my favorite.
I'll be talking to you about that one day.
Awesome.
And Jessica is a practicing attorney here in Brevard County, started a new law firm. And she is a specialist in estate planning, and she handles trusts, probate, administration, elder law, Medicaid planning. Just an amazing resume. In addition, Jessica is also a Florida Supreme Court certified county mediator and mediating circuit civil. Wow. prior to starting your own law firm, you've got, again, quite the resume.
Thank you.
You had...
You're like, how much time do we have?
You started with legal experience through as a judicial assistant for one of the judges here, David Silverman.
Mm-hmm.
For 4 years.
Yes,
and
I actually started as a paralegal in Brock and Scott over 20 years ago.
Wow.
Yes.
So you go way back in the law, and so I don't know. I can just go on and on about your resume, but it's incredible, and we're glad you're here. We're glad that you've started your law firm, and I'm excited when somebody starts a new practice, a new business here. Ooh. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Jessica Lynn Silva,
Hi.
Esquire of Jessica Lynn, law offices of Jessica Lynn Silva.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve and Jesse. And sorry I didn't chime in on the football. My husband used to be a big Dallas Cowboys fan, got burned, and switched to college.
Ooh,
so
yeah.
I'm kind of don't know really much what to say about all the teams.
Speaking of the Cowboys, Jimmy Johnson was just nominated to be in the Hall of Fame. He was actually inducted to the Hall of Fame, so Pro Football Hall of Fame. Jimmy Johnson, congratulations.
That's awesome.
Obviously the Cowboys have tried so hard since he's been the coach, and they haven't made it. So he was definitely a great coach and great motivator for them. So anyways, let's talk about how you ended up getting into law over 20 plus years ago. What motivated you? What was your catalyst?
Okay. Well, first of all, Steve, not law related. Can I borrow your jacket sometime? Because that is gorgeous. I am loving all those colors. Yes. For law. Okay. Always loved JAG. And wanted to know, at 18, became a single mom, a young mom, and didn't want to be a statistic, so went straight to college and took the entrance exam, thought I was just going to be a secretary, tested really high on the scores, and the counselor said, have you ever thought of being a paralegal? And I said, what's that? Do they deal with handicapped people? And they said, no, they're the right-hand person to an attorney. And I said, that sounds awesome. Sign me up. So I went to college to be a paralegal, and I went and became a real estate paralegal for Brock and Scott at the same time and had a little boy. A couple years later, I met my amazing husband, and being that I worked for law firms, they did the adoption for complimentary, and we had 2 more additional children, and it's just been amazing. Keone and I just celebrated our 18th anniversary a couple weeks ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Keone.
He's a keeper.
Yeah. So our discussion today is going to be, speaking of family, is going to obviously pertain a lot to family, the well-being, the security, and protecting the assets, and looking forward to, we think about what's going on right now, but a lot of times we don't worry about tomorrow or what happens next year or the year after, even though we know it's important. Yes. So this is a topic that I'm really excited to really just dive into, because, we all want to know that tomorrow is going to be okay. If something happens, we have all of our assets and ducks in a row, if you want to say. It's all aligned. And, we've gone through loss in my family.
I'm sorry.
And it's bad enough when you lose somebody, but it's worse when things aren't organized.
Yes,
and
absolutely is the worst time to figure out things were not done properly.
That's right. So let's just go right into estate planning basics.
Sure.
So wills versus trusts.
Okay. The shortest way I like to put it in common layman's terms is a will. Anything you want to do if all of your assets are passing through a will is you have to obtain the court's permission to do so via petition and court order. Things that are funded into the trust, you can bypass and take action without court orders. So what happens is probate is that word that everybody wants to avoid and everybody is scared of. And so there are some ways to minimize the damages and pressure. And the estate planning is pretty much your chance to have a voice from the grave and tell the court what you wanted to happen with all of your assets that you worked so hard for.
Right.
It also, in a wise estate plan, does not just include a last will and testament. It also includes a durable power of attorney, a healthcare surrogate, and a living will. Those are 3 documents that actually take effect while you're still alive but become incapacitated. So say you're in a car accident or you're in a coma, you're just not able to make decisions for yourself. Instead of tying all the courts up in litigation while a family member all fights over the right of who should be able to make those decisions and medical action or something like that is held up, they'll simply look at the paperwork that you've had in place and who you nominated as first. I always recommend that my clients list a primary and then one or two alternates, because as soon as the court runs out of named person, then they're going to have to go to court to figure out who should be appointed and listen to all the arguments of why each particular person feels they're the best fit.
Right. So if a property owner passes away and they have assets and they have property and they don't have, let's say they have a will set up, but they don't have a trust. It goes through the courts. It's still considered probate, correct? Even though they have a will?
What happens, and the only way that you can avoid probate is to have named beneficiaries on all of your different accounts, and then we'll discuss houses in just a second.
Okay.
When I have a family in front of me or a young couple, the first thing I try to tell them is the best way to try to see if we can avoid the formal probate process is if all you have is one home and it's your homestead property, you have your checking and savings accounts, a life insurance, and a Roth IRA. As long as you name beneficiaries on your life insurance and Roth IRA, and then you have what's called a payable on death beneficiary, POD, listed on your checking and savings account, then those things do not become estate assets, so you do not have to probate those items.
Okay.
If the only thing you had was your vehicle, and that was it, everything else had been taken care of, you do not have to open a probate simply to transfer title to the vehicle. You can go to the DMV, you can show the death certificate. If there's a will, you can show who it was supposed to go to, and they can transfer the title, and then they'll want usually to have proof of insurance as well. Now, wrapping back around to the home, if all you had was the home and it was your homestead property, and you're leaving for it to transfer title properly, some people like to do what's called kick the can down the road, and they just assume, oh, it was coming to me, so it's no big deal, I'm not going to take any action. Where that's going to hit you is when you try to sell and a title search takes place, and there's been times where you have to go all the way back through the last 25, 30 years and probate all the people that it was supposed to have passed through that everyone just didn't do it. They just assumed because it was passing to family members that everything was fine.
Wow.
There are three forms of ownership when you deal with real estate in here. There's joint tenants with rights of survivorship, which means they say two people own it and they take it as joint tenants with rights of survivorship. If one of them passes away, immediately at death, it's 100% vested in the sole surviving person. So probate doesn't need to take place because it's not their asset anymore. There's tenancy by the entirety, which is the most strongest and protected, but only applicable to married couples. So same, if they hold it tenants by the entirety and the husband and wife and they pass away, it'll instantaneously become to the surviving spouse. Tenants in common is the most common one, and tenants in common is if you do not list it specifically, that is the one that is understood to carry. The thing that comes in with tenants in common is now you have two people that own a 50% interest in each home, but at the death of one of them, you now have to go and pass and probate that
the other
50% interest. Yes. So there's a couple sad situations that I've dealt with in the past where a lot of times older people are wanting to buy a house together. They want to be two little old ladies they just want to own a home and stay roommates. And there was a sad situation where they bought it together as tenants in common. It was missing the one sentence, joint tenants rights or survivorship. So her 50% interest, she assumed it would go to her and then found out that it would not. And so she now had no will either. So she did not get it because there's no joint tenants rights or survivorship. And her roommate also had no will leaving her 50% interest to this lady. So this particular person will now own it with 3 adult beneficiaries, which once they know that they have something that they have legal right to, they don't want to freely just give that away. That's like giving away money. In another case where if there is no heirs or there's no apparent heirs because they're older, so they might have had no children, their parents are deceased, you then have to have a guardian ad litem appointed for theirs. Then they have to deplete the assets while you go and do an heir search. And then if they absolutely cannot find heirs, then it would escheat to the state of Florida. So this little old person now would have to buy out their interest from the state of Florida and pretty much pay double for their home.
Amazing.
All of that could have been avoided with having a will and naming their interest over to their roommate, or have taken it as joint tenants with rights of survivorship at the time that they purchased the home. So those are the type of things people just aren't aware of. there's a lot of simple ways that you can do wise estate planning and then just save yourself a lot of money and a lot of heartache down the road.
So this is important, guys. So when you're out there listening, there's a lot of people buying and selling real estate out there every day.
Yes, very much.
The real estate in most cases is one of the most expensive assets, right, in a family portfolio. So when you're purchasing the property, you've got an opportunity to take title a certain way.
Correct.
Okay. And even after the fact, you can change how it's held. You can do a quick claim deed, correct?
Absolutely. Which is typically what happens when they
Doesn't
come
take
and
a lot
want
to
to do
do
a
that.
trust.
Pretty easy. So if you guys are listening out there and watching this, I want to encourage you to speak to somebody like Jessica in terms of how to title the property to be, for your best interest in your family.
And where you start to come into trust is when you are owning several properties, especially if you own several homes across several states, which is getting much more common nowadays. If you only have those assets in your name alone and you pass away with just a will, you're going to have to go open a probate administration in every state that home exists.
Wow.
If you have all those homes titled in a trust, whoever you've named a successor trustee has the right and authority without court's permission to go ahead and just have trustee distributive deeds prepared and transfer title to the beneficiaries and start or liquidate the assets if they need to and place them.
Very complex. Very complex.
It seems that way, but it's honestly not that difficult once you can understand.
Well, the things that can go wrong.
Correct.
There's a lot of complex things that can go
Yes.
wrong if it's not titled a certain way, and the worst happens. Obviously, then you've got things that are out of your control. So, if you guys are just joining us, this is Jessica Lynn Silva. She's new law practice here in Brevard County, the law offices of Jessica Lynn Silva. And she's here to answer any questions about estate planning. Yes. And we're just getting into this, so I'm really excited to be talking with Jessica about this really important topic about looking after your household and your family and protecting your assets.
Yes.
Yeah. So what else can you tell us about the real estate side of things as far as a homesteaded property? If it's your primary residence, and you have to file for homestead, obviously, to get that protection and get that benefit. You talked about...
The Florida Constitution has where the homestead, and what it is it's a protection against creditors. So it's if you're in a car accident and then you accidentally kill someone and then you have a lawsuit against you, they cannot have those creditors attach in a way that they force you to sell your home and leave you homeless to pay because that is your one homestead. Now, your rental properties and things like that aren't allowed that protection. So you're only allowed one, especially in the state of Florida. When someone passes away, if that is their homestead exemption, you can petition the court, which I do quite often. I actually have a hearing scheduled for tomorrow morning before court, that you would do a petition to determine homestead and then tell the court that it is passing to a blood heir who should also be able to have that homestead exemption. Okay. And the court will review it, the judge, and they usually will sign the order right away as long as there's no issues or flags that they see. Because it's up to me as the attorney to prove and show the trail that everything is legitimate and according to statute.
Very neat. So, speaking of homestead, that deadline is coming up. You have until March 1st to file for your homestead. And in the real estate business, I've had sellers and they're living in the property; it's their primary residence, and they're not homestead protected, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, I didn't even know."
Plus the tax savings.
The tax
if they
savings.
go and do it from the property appraiser's office. Yes.
So we did have a question come in while we were chatting. Which is the best to pass down a property, will, trust, or other?
Okay, there is, will is going to be, it depends on if they're trying to pass it to a blood heir or to a friend or a charity. Do they reference any details?
The blood heir.
It's to a blood heir. Okay, and if it's a homestead, a trust, the main point of a trust is where you want it to go quickly and you want it to go without the court's permission. So if that's what you want, then you want to spend a little more money up front and do the trust. The thing about a trust is even if you have one drafted, and some attorneys will draft them and already assist you with funding them or help you fund them for extra fees, and some will just prepare your trust, give you instructions, and say, good luck, you need to go fund these. If you don't fund them, they're useless. You have a beautiful, very expensive piece of paper that's worthless. So what happens is after you do the trust, a quitclaim deed will be prepared that will take the home from your name into the trust name. And then when you pass away, whoever you've named a successor trustee can then go in, and all of the assets that are titled in the trust, they have the authority to go and liquidate and address and pass out to the beneficiaries.
Wow.
If you only had your home in the will, then they are going to have to go and reach out to a probate attorney and have a discussion. They'll gather up, and I actually have a list of what I have clients bring to our initial consultation. We'll go over all the documents, any known creditors, all those different kinds of issues, and then we will open up a formal probate administration. And that's where you start the nice, slow process of just being able to get the court's permission to take each step that you want to take. The first one being that you will have to officially be appointed as personal representative of the estate, then giving you the authority to speak to the banks and list the home for sale and do all those other pieces.
How quickly does that process move through the courts?
Formal probate administration. Our courts are really awesome, and we have a fantastic team. I know them because I did work for Judge Silverman for several years, and so we have really just great judges and great clerks and everyone there. But it's typically is 6 months to over a year. And then if it starts getting litigious, or if someone doesn't like the will or feels that there was duress or incompetency issues, then it can be tied up for years and years. So, or if you have assets so large, which is not uncommon, that it's lottery winners or people that own cities or own multiple real estates, then again, that's more things to battle out and go through.
Amazing. Well, great question. It led into, other things, but that's awesome information. You're just a wealth of information. That's what I say, wealth of information. We need more questions out there. I see a lot of people active on watching, and I'm here with Jessica Lynn Silva of the law offices of Jessica Lynn Silva, and we're taking your comments, questions about estate planning. This is a great time. I mean, it's New Year's. We all have goals and resolutions, but how many of them put this at the top of their list each year,
Yes.
And it should be.
It should. And there's a few others within the community in different realms that we like to go around and do free informational seminars because people don't know what they don't know. And then also there's other people that just have that it will never happen to me mentality. And so when you share with them a few stories or they hear the horror stories from others that personally went through it, then their mindset changes and they realize the importance.
Well, that's awesome. I see a couple comments on here. Let's see here. Oh, that's Keone. Hey, Keone.
Hey.
Mahalo. He said mahalo.
Hi, babe.
Steve Thaggart says, it's cold. Yes.
Yes. Keone and I spent 4 years in Minot, North Dakota, so this is still chilly, but not -50.
No, not -50.
Like Barbara asked a question.
See, I'm not seeing those questions on mine. Barbara, what is the role of executor if all accounts and property are left in a trust? Good question.
Yes, that's an excellent question. Executor is also used, it's kind of interchangeable with personal representative. Each state calls it something different. If you have a trust, though, there won't need to be a probate, so the personal representative never takes any authority or ownership or any role. What the person that will be the role person is your successor trustee. If people, when they have a trust and then their pour over will, usually typically the successor trustee and personal representative are the same person.
Right.
There are many times that I've personally done where people had a trust and a pour over will, but there were several assets they never got into the trust. So we had to do both. We did a trust administration and a probate administration to get everything taken care of. So that is when the person will start doing all their duties as a trustee, but then they also at the same time are doing all their duties as a personal representative.
Right.
So once they're officially appointed by the court, I actually have a personal representative letter that fully explains it. It's a little lengthy, but it does explain to them what they've now said that they would do, what they're committed to in their fiduciary duties. Now, in the state of Florida, A personal representative is entitled to a 3% of the estate assets as reimbursement for their duties, because they do have a little hard work ahead of them, and it's a long process, and they have to keep detailed notes, and they are my client. The PR is the person that enters the engagement letter with me, and the PR and I are the ones that work closely together. So they do, sometimes if it's family members that are inheriting all the estate assets, and there's a brother and a sister or something like that, sometimes the PR will just say, no, that's okay. I will just not accept my 3%. And then there's others that say, oh, no, I'm working harder than my brother and sister, and I want my 3%, and then we'll divide the rest.
Okay.
So, yes, and they're completely entitled to it.
Now, is that spelled out in the actual trust, that 3%?
Typically, it'll just reference a sentence that they can be compensated.
Okay.
It's Florida statute that allows it to be up to 3%. Same for attorney fees. When you hire an attorney in the state of Florida to represent the personal representative, we have 3 ways that we can receive our compensation. And I usually offer the choice to my clients of how they would like to do it. We also are entitled to 3% of the estate assets, or we can charge a flat fee, or we can charge hourly and just take a retainer and then bill hourly. And so it's completely up to, some clients prefer to just see how it goes. Some just want to already know that figure up front. And so I actually have had several clients all choose different avenues. So I lay them out and let them make the decision.
That's awesome. So you bring up a good point. And you guys just joining us, I see some people just hopping on. I'm here with attorney Jessica Lynn Silva. We're taking your questions about estate planning. Very important topic here to look out, check. And, this is a great time to talk about this, because you talked about if there were more assets that were listed in the trust. Talking about trust, wills.
Yes.
How often do people acquire new assets, and how often should they update their trust and their will?
You should be looking over your estate planning every 3 to 5 years. And for a couple of reasons, actually. One, to make sure that who you have, if you have minor children, who you've named as guardianships of those minor children, that's still who you want to raise your kids should you pass. Second, some of my older couples, once their children are adults, they get angry with their kids, or their kids take a wrong path in life. And in the state of Florida, you do have the right to leave your children out of the will. You cannot leave out your spouse unless you have signed a prenup or a postnup. Otherwise, they can come back and fight for their elective share. Okay. But children, if they're naughty, you can leave a sentence that says, I hereby leave out this person intentionally for reasons known to him or her.
You hear that? Any of our minors listening out there? That's great information. So we're almost ready for our halftime break, and we're actually a little over halftime. So keep the questions and comments coming in, guys. I'm here with attorney Jessica Lynn Silva here on Steve Talks 321 podcast. We really appreciate you staying with us and watching. We'll be back in about 90 seconds.
Steven,
Why, yes, Christopher.
what are you doing?
I am scribing down some ideas for the next podcast of the Black Dog Confessional.
Oh, Mitzi had spoke of that. She said it is rather wonderful.
Well, we tried to succeed, Christopher. We tried to succeed. We're talking about all the proper etiquette techniques that we can this week.
Do you think everyone is listening?
I definitely believe so, Christopher.
Well, if they're not, they better get on their game!
Hey, this is Trisha Schmalhofer, hostess of BAM, Badasses, Alchemists, and Mystics. This podcast is all about seeking knowledge, talking to experts, changing perspectives, channeling wisdom, and shifting consciousness. Listen as we invite a different badass guest each time from a variety of career fields who are living their purpose, spreading light, giving strength and hope, and changing lives every day. We stream live on Facebook, so like our page, interact with us, and watch the behind-the-scenes action. Find BAM, Badasses, Alchemists, and Mystics on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts under Space Coast Podcast Network. BAM!
You're listening to Space Coast Podcast, home of the greatest podcasts on the Space Coast. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor or having your own show, email us at spacecoastpodcast@hotmail.com.
Space Coast Podcast.
Talk hard!
All right, welcome back, everyone. Steve Talks 321, episode 9. Can you believe it? Episode 9. We're in the year 2020. We've got Elon Musk saying that he's taking us to Mars.
That is so cool.
Elon Musk is, he's incredible. He's,
I just hope all of his passengers have their estate planning in order before they go.
yes. Yes. Elon is quite the character. He started his own little Elon shuffle. Did you see his little dance he did a couple of weeks back?
I did not.
Yeah, it caught a lot of attention.
That's perfect.
Yeah. He was giving a
It's
speech
crazy
and he was
when
celebrating.
That's awesome.
Yeah. His stock is doing incredible too. His stock is like over 500. So
Soon yours will be too, Steve.
yeah.
Soon.
My stock and Steve Talks 321.
Exactly.
We'll take it IPO here in about 4 years. Yeah. We got to come up with a symbol, stock symbol. So
321.
321, right? Good one. You know, a lot of people don't realize that the 321 area code was named 321 for the space program. Space 321. Yeah.
No,
Pretty cool.
I did not get that correlation.
Speaking of 321, we had that abort Falcon launch the other day. Did you hear the boom and then the explosion?
I did it.
It was.
Oh.
I thought somebody hit the house. I was home when it happened. Yeah, I heard it. It was what was it? Saturday or Sunday? It was Sunday.
Sunday morning.
Yeah, it was Sunday. I heard something like hit the house. It was that.
No,
So,
I missed that. And you
pretty
live
cool.
just down the road from me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they said beachgoers look out for debris.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but that's what we do here. We launch rockets, and it's like, yeah, we're launching so many of them. It's like, we had another rocket launch.
Rockets and Disney
Yeah.
and beaches. What more could you ask
That's
for?
right. And cruise ships.
Yes, yes. And usually sunshine, except for yesterday
Yeah.
and today.
Yeah. So we do have some great waves out there right now. There's some surfer friends of mine out there catching some cool waves.
Right now?
Yeah,
In the
not
50s?
right now.
Oh,
but
okay.
They were over the weekend. They got some big waves rolling in. But hey, guys, we're back, and I'm here with attorney Jessica Lynn Silva. We're talking about estate planning and all the really important stuff you really should be focusing on. And we've got some more comments and questions. Yes, we want to do that now. We were talking about that at the break. How do they contact you, Jessica, for estate planning advice?
Thank you for asking. My website is www.jessicalynnlaw.com. So JESSICALYNNLAW. So jessicalynnlaw.com. To reach my staff, it's law@jessicalynnlaw.com. And then to reach me personally, it's jessica@jessicalynnlaw.com. And then our office line phone is 321-474-2034.
Can you say it one more time? I'm typing it in.
Of course, 321-474-2034. And this week you'll see a little bit. You'll probably reach me more than you usually would because my paralegal is in Hawaii this week.
Ooh.
It was her birthday and her husband surprised her.
Very nice.
Yes.
What part of Hawaii do you know?
I think she was going to Maui and one other island. I'm sure I'll get the fill-in when she returns.
Very cool.
He wanted everything to be a surprise for her, so he wouldn't let her plan anything.
That's cool.
Yes.
Well, hope they're having a good time out there.
Yeah, how could you not
Yeah.
in Hawaii? My husband was born and raised in Hawaii. I think it's actually officially called Hawaii, so he'll probably chastise me for not saying it correctly.
Right. So we're going to continue a little bit more about estate planning
Yes.
and assets. And we were talking on the break about a residuary clause.
Yes. The residuary clause is the way, because in your will, in your trust, you can be very specific in which items, so if you own several properties, you can say this property goes to this person, this property goes to this person. If they're not alive, then I want it to go to this.
Right.
And on that note, there's two very key words when you're passing title to one of your assets. It can either be per stirpes or per capita. And that word makes all the difference in how it'll flow.
Explain.
Yes. If it is per capita and you're leaving it to two people in equal shares per capita and one passes before you do, then it's only going to go to the one surviving person. If you say that it's to go per stirpes and one person passes before you do, their share will still pass to their heirs.
Okay.
So, yes. So that's a very key difference when you deal, like, say someone has 3 or 4 children and wants it all to be divided equally among them, but doesn't want their grandchildren to inherit, only their children, then that's where it's really the differentiation makes a big deal.
That's important. That makes a lot of sense.
Yes. But on that note, you can list specific items and be as detailed as that you would want to be within your estate planning. And actually, you don't just cover your assets. It's very wise to cover your preference on if you would like to be cremated or buried. If there's a particular person that you want to be the point person for all of your funeral arrangements, if you have funeral things already prepaid, if you want to be buried in a certain place, all of that stuff can be handled within your estate planning.
Right.
And that's really, there's actually famous movie stars and actresses where their body was not even taken care of for months and years, why the family battled out where they should be laid to rest. So that's but in regards to your assets, if there are things that are not named, or say you win the lottery today and you didn't have time to go and develop a trust or say where you wanted to go, all of those things are collected and appointed to what's called your residuary clause. The residuary clause within your will says, I gather up everything that's not named specifically that is an estate asset, and this is how I want it distributed. It can be people, it can be charities. There are different people that actually will leave it to animals and different things. So you have, and we can actually discuss pets. I do have many people that discuss pets in their last will planning. They want Fido to go to a particular person along with a monetary donation so that Fido is taken care of. So all of those things. So you can really be as detailed as you want within the realms of the law to make sure the court and everyone's clear on what your direction is, because they're your assets and you worked hard for them, and they're the things that matter most to you. So it's a great tool, and it's it's very inexpensive.
So let me ask you a question that a lot of people may wonder, may not. I don't know. It always comes to my mind, like, what amount of assets is enough to consider creating a trust, a will, or whatever, to have their estate planning in order? Is there any amount that's too low?
For estate planning, to have your estate planning basic and a will and everything in the durable power of attorney, your living will and healthcare surrogate, once you're over 18 and still mentally capacitated, you should have your estate planning in place. It doesn't matter even if you...
So it's not about assets, it's just about age.
It's also about appointing the person, because once someone's 18, everything, the favorite saying in law school and in the court system is, it depends. That means that's a big gray area that everything can go one way or the other. So if you don't have clear direction, and once your child, say they turned 18 yesterday and they're in a snowboarding accident tomorrow,
right?
It depends if the doctors in that hospital are really going to consider the mom as the person that gets to say whether to take off the life support. The mom could go petition the court, or what if the mom and dad are divorced and they have differing opinions of what to pull the plug or not to pull the plug.
Right.
If that 18-year-old had estate planning in place, had a healthcare surrogate, named exactly who he wanted to take care of any issues regarding medical, then it's very clear and it's very obvious, and things will move quickly. If not, the person is laying in the hospital, action might be paused while everyone goes and fights it out in court. And you can't typically fight things out in court without finding the assistance of an attorney, because you're already overwhelmed with grief or trauma of what's going on. That's not when you're thinking your best or your most clear.
Wow. So if you all are listening to this out there, if you have an 18-year-old or 20-year-old for that matter, and they're a student in college, they're still no longer...
They're an adult now.
They're an adult, and things like this can happen even if they're in your household, they're living there, you're still their parent, and something bad happens, to have this in order is a huge benefit.
It's very wise.
Yeah.
And it's just you don't want the court to have to listen and clog the system and all that to decide and hear testimony from all sides, and then ultimately the judge is the decision maker, when you could have very simply avoided all of that time and expense and trauma, and it does destroy a lot of family relationships. And then sometimes as people get older, if they don't have durable power of attorneys or healthcare surrogates, then you're clogging up the court because you need to have guardianship taken and addressed so that someone can be appointed to take care of them. But if you have a durable power of attorney, you've already really told the courts who you want to be able to. Because a durable power of attorney is where you're allowing someone the authority to act on your behalf because you're incapacitated. You're not passed, but you're incapacitated to liquidate your assets, sell your home, access your email, get into your banks, keep things going as usual, keep business going as usual so it doesn't all come to a grinding halt. Medical, the healthcare surrogate, is they get to make those decisions related to you medically.
Right. So this is something you can, somebody's 18, 19 years old and somebody's out there listening right now, they're parents, and they say, you know what, we never thought of this. We want to get this set up. Something you can set up for them relatively quickly.
I actually do, and because estate planning really should come as a package, I do a trust package and a will package. And the will package includes your last will and testament, your durable power of attorney, your healthcare surrogate, your living will, and 2 hours of attorney time with me. So that way we can discuss everything in thorough, and then also a signing appointment after the fact. Because for your will to be valid, it needs to be signed in the presence of 2 witnesses. And then
Correct.
if you want to avoid any court issues later with having to bring back one of those witnesses to testify that you were competent at the time, then you do what's called a proof of will at the time that you already sign it, and that's where they'll sign again the witnesses and a notary. And that will allow the will to be validated and admitted to the court.
Amazing.
And the trust package includes all of those items I just said, but poor will, but it also includes the trust and also includes a quitclaim deed.
Okay. Wow. Great. So I'm here with Jessica Lynn Silva of the law offices of Jessica Lynn Silva. She's a resident here in Brevard County, started her own law
2011.
practice here. She's handling estate planning, all of the important things that we really should be focused on. And that's what she's doing. She's providing a service to protect your families, your assets, and just look out for the future of your family.
I say plan
That's
wisely
great.
for the future. It comes much sooner than you think.
Oh, without a doubt. Where's the last 20, 30 years gone, right? It's been so
Yes.
fast. And, you always think, oh, I've got plenty of time. I've got plenty of time to deal with this. Right now I've got this to deal with. And then next thing you know, time just flies by and you get distracted and years go by. And I know we put it off for years. So you heard it right from Jessica. There's no amount of assets that's needed to get this in order, to have, your durable power of attorneys in order, a will, a trust, healthcare surrogate, have it all done. She does all of this, guys. So complete package right here, local. It's not an online attorney as from another state. Not saying anything bad about that, but she's right here for you. So Jessica
with
can be
this.
reached right here at 321-474-2034, and she's at jessicalynlaw.com, and that's I actually posted it in the feed here.
Thank you.
So if you guys are not able to catch the whole show, you can of course listen to the audio version on Spotify, Pandora, and all the other iTunes and podcast sites. Otherwise, the video will be up here, the recorded version of this, and you can go back on and watch it. You can go back on and watch it tonight and say, how did I do? Yes. You did great. So, but we're going to take one more final 60-second break.
Okay.
And we're going to come back. We got some fun stuff here.
Oh, nice.
A little fun true or false
Fun for
quizzy
you?
for Jessica. Yeah,
Or fun
I already
for me?
did it. But,
Okay.
so we'll be back. We're going to have a little fun. You guys can play along, and we'll be back in 60 seconds. Thanks for watching.
All right. This is Doug Monda,
This is Karen Monda.
And Chris Hadaway.
and we're the host of Survive, the new podcast brought to you by the Survive First Foundation, a nonprofit organization assisting first responders and their families in need of mental health support due to the lifestyle of being a first responder. So, Chris, tell us what we're going to have.
We're coming to you from retired and active law enforcement officers as well as their spouses to discuss the responder life.
Don't forget, this is an unedited and raw podcast, so we need your interactive suggestions and advice to help us help others.
So find us live on our Survive First Facebook page and join in the conversation, or find us on demand on Spotify, iTunes, or anywhere you listen to podcasts from the Space Coast Podcast Network to you.
Alrighty, welcome back. Steve Talks 321. We're gonna finish up our final 7 or so minutes here. Just thanking Jessica Lynn Silva for coming out, and just a wealth of information. I call it a world, but a wealth of information about estate planning, getting your house in order, all of the things that we really need to focus on, and you covered a lot in such a short amount of time. But why don't you invite people to contact you for a consultation so they can talk with you privately and see what they need to do?
Absolutely. They are welcome to reach out to me. I would be happy to meet with them and schedule them for a consultation. I actually am licensed to practice law across the entire state of Florida, so I do have out-of-county clients. I probate estates that are out of county, and I do estate planning for clients out of county. So some, if it's so many hours away that they can't come in person or I can't go to them, then we do Skype or Zoom or telephonic conferences. Mm-hmm. So there's many options. They're welcome to reach out via email, text, or phone call, and I'm happy to put them on the calendar. And it is confidential and it is private, and then I can see if there's a way I can help.
Awesome. And give them the best contact information to reach you.
To reach the law firm, it's 321-474-2034, and you're welcome to text or call, or you can email the office at law@jessicalynlaw.com, or you can reach me personally at jessica@jessicalynlaw.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So we're gonna kind of wind down now, but I have a fun little segment of the show that I'm doing now, and it's a true or false.
Yay.
So we're just calling it true or false.
Okay.
It's a 10-question true or false question answer. It's just kind of like just a fun quizzy type thing.
So I should probably be very relieved it wasn't truth or dare.
Right, not truth or dare. It's
Okay,
true or
that's
false.
Good. Okay, perfect.
So-
50-50 chance.
True or false? Yay! There's the roar. So I'm going to start out. So I have the questions right here in hand. You guys out there watching, you can follow along if you want. Question number 1. This is true or false. The first Ben & Jerry's ice cream flavor to be created was Cherry Garcia. True or false?
I'm going to go with true.
Okay. Number 2. Canada became an independent nation before Finland. True or false?
Oh, gosh. I really should study more geography instead of law. I would go with true.
Okay. We're going to come back and go over the answers after all of them. Number 3, Johnny Depp was nominated for Best Actor Academy Award for a role in a Disney film. True or false?
Probably true. People love him. I personally do not.
All right. Number 4, as per the rules of the board game Monopoly, players do not collect money on free parking. True or false? As per the rules of Monopoly, they do not collect money for free parking.
I guess true.
Okay. All right, number 5, Katy Perry.
Mm-hmm.
Her first album was released in the Christian rock genre. True or false?
True.
Okay. Number 6, on the TV show The Simpsons, the voice of Maggie was once recorded by Michael Jackson. True or false?
I'm not sure. I didn't really watch The Simpsons, but I guess I'll go with true.
Okay.
I could see him doing that.
Number 7, the city of Kyoto was capital of Japan for more than 1,000 years. True or false?
False.
Ashton Kutcher's real first name is Christopher. True or false?
False.
Actor Hugh Jackman was born in the UK. True or false?
True. It's a good thing you're not the bar exam.
Earth, planet Earth, is the only planet in our solar system not named after a Greek or Roman god.
True.
Oh, Okay, we're going to check the scores and see how
gosh.
you did here.
I would really hope they outvoted public humiliation.
All right, let's pull up my answers here. I did this, by the way, too, today.
Did you?
Yeah. I did okay.
Okay, that's good. So the bar is only so high.
All right, number one, the first Ben & Jerry's ice cream flavor to be created was Cherry Garcia. Jessica says, true. The answer was false. Their original flavor was vanilla, 1978.
Seriously? Vanilla?
Vanilla,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah. All right. So you got that one.
So they started off neutral.
Yeah. Number two, Canada became an independent nation before Finland. Jessica said, true. The answer is true.
Yay! One point.
All right, number three. Johnny Depp was nominated for Best Actor Academy Award for a role in a Disney film. Jessica says, true. The answer is true.
Yay!
Not bad for not being a huge fan of him.
Well, my family is. They love his movies.
By the way, 65% of the players that answered that got it correctly. So you did good. The previous one, by the way, only 52% was correct
Okay, good.
on Canada. All right, number four. As per the rules of the board game Monopoly, players do not collect money on free parking. And that's true or false. Jessica said true. Answer is true.
Oh, good. I was
right.
looking for the trip up in there.
Right. A little tricky. Number five. Well, let's see how many people got that one. 75% of the people answered that correctly. All right. Number five. Katy Perry's first album was released in the Christian rock genre. Your answer, Jessica, was true. And that is correct.
Yay!
True. Number six, on the TV show The Simpsons, the voice of Maggie was once recorded by Michael Jackson. And the correct answer, Jessica answered true. The correct answer is false.
Uh-oh.
He did not do that.
Disappointing.
Let's see how many people got that one. 63%. Okay. All right. Number seven, the city of Kyoto was capital of Japan for more than 1,000 years. Jessica said false. The answer is true. Kyoto was actually the capital of Japan for more than 1,074 years, from 794 AD to 1868. So I got that one wrong too.
Okay. Good company.
Yeah. All right. Back to Hollywood. Ashton Kutcher's real first name is Christopher. Jessica said false. That's actually true. His real name, his first name is Christopher.
Guess it wasn't Hollywood enough.
Right. It's all right. Actor Hugh Jackman was born in the UK. Correct answer. Jessica said true. He was born in Sydney, Australia.
So close.
Yeah.
Not.
And number 10, planet Earth is the only planet in our solar system not named after a Greek or Roman god. Jessica said true, and that is correct.
Yay!
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So I
6
made
out
it
of
over half.
10.
That's good. I'll take it.
Woohoo!
If I made it over the hump, I'm good.
That's what the average was.
Yay.
6 out of 10.
Okay.
So very good. That was
Thanks.
our true or false.
Thank you.
Yeah. So another week is wrapped up. Episode 9. The Big 10 is coming up.
Nice.
And really want to thank everybody out there for watching and tuning in every week. Our audience is growing. I've had a lot of followers. So, Jesse, thank you again for being
Thanks,
my podcast
Jesse.
studio manager and production manager. And look forward to episode 10 next Tuesday. No, not next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday's okay.
No, we're not. We're off next Tuesday. That's right. We're going to February 3rd.
You build
We had
out
to take-
all the excitement.
Yeah. So you guys are just going to have to wait. The suspense is going to kill you, I know.
They can
But
rewatch mine.
Tuesday the 3rd after the Super Bowl.
Go Chiefs.
Oh, nice.
Go Chiefs.
Okay.
So you guys have a great rest of your week. Stay warm. Make some chili, some soup. Stay healthy. And we'll see you on February the 3rd. And looking forward to the coming Super Bowl weekend.
Yes.
Not next week, the weekend after. February 2nd. So thanks for watching Steve Talk 321. Appreciate you guys. See you soon.